Welcome, everybody. Welcome back. We are here for our Week 11 matchup recap. I'm your host, Dr. Dane Andre, and with our distinguished professor, Killanomics. This is the University of Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Welcome, everybody. How you doing, Killer?
I am doing great. Feels good to have basketball back once again. Given the whole All-Star break, and my teams across the five leagues that I'm in are doing pretty good. Looking at a 3-2 split. And that's pretty reasonable, especially as we're gearing up and getting close to the playoffs. How are you feeling?
I'm looking at the same. Looks like I'm ahead with a finish off the week, winning 3 of my 5 matchups. Actually, four of my 5. So
that's big.
I'm happy about that. It doesn't happen often. So, how'd you like the All-Star game, man? All-Star weekend,
All-Star Day.
Yeah.
I thought it was good. I thought it was good, especially given the constraints. I thought, unfortunately, LeBron's team was just stacked, man. They should have did a trade or something, or should have did something to even out the teams, because with Booker, bowing out, and Embiid not being able to play, and no, Simmons was on LeBron's team. But I mean, it just made it no contest. I mean, it was already going to be a big hurdle. And then the dunk contest was, it was good halftime fodder, right? Like it was something good to watch. My favorite event was the 3-point contest, man.
That was good.
Like Mike Conley really surprised me, man.
That was good.
Like I did not.
Who'd you think was coming in second? I went for Tatum.
Second, I love it.
Yeah, it's true.
Clay. I thought Clay was gonna make a late addition and be like, "Yeah, I'm good enough to shoot."
Conley surprised me too, man. He, I wasn't expecting him to. I actually didn't realize he was going to be in the contest, so that was a good little surprise for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Dunk contest was like, it was. I wasn't super entertained, but overall, I like the format of that All-Star day. I thought it was nice to have the competitions ahead of the game, and then put the dunk contest at halftime. It's probably not as much time as people would hope, but I feel like we've seen times where it's gone on too long and just wasn't the energy, and the show just didn't match up with the time, and it was just too much, and it gets boring, and it gets to be like a real criticized event. But in this, man, all people could say really about this one was that it just wasn't, the quality of dunks wasn't that great.
What'd you think about the showing from your boy Obi?
I think if he had more time, he probably could have did something, put more thought into it, and put a little bit more oomph into it. But I don't know. I think he could have won that contest.
You think bringing out his pops wasn't good enough for him to to give himself a strong chance?
I like that dunk. I thought that dunk that he did was impressive. The only problem was that he didn't finish it on the first try. But where it was disappointing was the last dunk he did, which was like, come on, bro. Like,
yeah.
Like that was like you do that during a game. Like I've seen one of the highlights in his Ohio his Dayton
Oh,
Fire.
I thought you was talking about like NBA games. I'm like, he's not getting enough minutes to
No,
do
I've
that.
seen,
No,
yeah, I feel like I saw him do the same dunk in a Flyer game. One of those highlights they always played of him in the pre-draft.
and Jay Billis is talking about he's
Yeah.
high flying. He's going to be the next Amari Stoudemire or whatever.
Yeah. But I just clearly, and D Wade said it best when right after he did the dunk. He was like, "Yeah, he lost." That was D Wade's comment was just like, "Yeah, he lost it. He's done."
D-Wade is another bully.
Yeah. But he was right, man. He was
I
right.
like it. No, I like it. I like it. I like it.
I didn't
D-Wade's
think
right. Yeah.
that was the way you were gonna win the dunk contest, man. But, who won? Anthony Simons. I didn't.
Yeah.
What'd you think about that dunk that he did to win it?
Oh, I thought it was trash. They should have just disqualified both, or they should have had D Wade vote to make it a tie, so they could do another set of dunks. Like we should have got another set of dunks for the final.
Yeah, it wasn't that exciting, but
Or Zach Levine should have surprised us and been like,
mhm,
"All right, guys,
mhm.
I've seen enough of this."
Yeah, and then the first few minutes of the All-Star game were trash, and then thank God for Steph Curry, Dame Lillard, and even Chris Paul, man. And Giannis too, and a couple other guys, but they really helped bring some interest into the game for me because I was like almost by the end of the first quarter I was like I'm done with this game.
Bruh, did you see like Zion like
Yeah,
dunk the air? Like there was a couple of
yeah,
moves, and I'm like, okay, now I get why you were not in the dunk contest. I
exactly. I
mean,
was like, now I see why
I
you
mean, I mean,
dunk
you
contest.
dunk with power, but
Yeah,
yeah, your athleticism, in with regards to dunking, is
yeah.
is not is not like some of the
He doesn't have like
elite
the
dunkers.
yeah he doesn't have the like the aerobatics that would make it look spectacular or anything like that. He can do some dunks that will impress you just because of how much power he brings to it. But other than that, I don't. Maybe he did us a favor by not being in the dunk contest.
I mean, he could have did some like showmanship, right, and maybe stepped on a scale or something, and then do some sports
Uh,
science or try to break the rim or something. That might have won over the crowd or something. But yeah, he had to do what, 3 dunks? So
yeah,
that kind of
it
would have
wasn't
been
gonna
tough. He
work
would have
out.
had to.
It
Yeah,
wasn't gonna work
that's
out.
gonna be rough. That's gonna be rough.
Uh, well, anyway, man, let's get to our week matchups. We It was a long week 11. We're here. So just to look at our week 11 picks. So far so good. Um, we had a few places where we were off a little bit, but for the most part, it looks like predictions have panned out. Let's start with my matchup against True Grit. Um, what do you think about this matchup?
True Grit needs to head to the trade market, man, because the averages, already said he was gonna, optimistically win 2 categories. Um, and he's barely being able to do that. I mean, he just doesn't have the talent. I look down this line, and you've got Kobe White. Kobe White was okay. He gave some good numbers, but just too much OKC, too much New York Knicks. Is just a recipe for disaster.
Um, but they also had a lot of injuries. So even the guys they did have out there, Baisley and Dort missed some games. Fournier missed a couple, I think. Um,
Mhm.
And then, you know, I mean, I'm trying to think of a category where it came close. If you look at rebounds, um, that really probably was a little closer than it should have been if Joel Embiid didn't get hurt. Um, Probably would have been a different story, but I mean, who knows? I mean, maybe Baisley or somebody would have chipped in and got some more boards, but yeah, it's pretty much what we thought. True Grit is slide continues to slide down the standings.
Yeah, right now he's sitting at the 10th position in live standings.
Yep.
And I think that slide will continue. The latest update regarding Anthony Davis is that he's going to be out for another 2 weeks at least,
Mm.
right? And
Yep.
being evaluated. So
Yeah. Same thing with JJJ, right? JJJ still no real man. They playing Memphis is just playing games with their reporting. Man, I can't mess with them anymore when it comes to depending on any kind of news. I'm good on their players from now on.
man, same here, man. I'm all set.
All right, let's move on to your matchup. You faced off against Speedsters. What did you see happen in your matchup?
So this matchup was rather interesting. Um, so I knew I was gonna be down as far as the amount of games played, and so I was trying to craft a strategy that was gonna target, 6 of the categories that I thought I was strong in. So, if you go by the averages, the categories that, I beat Speedsters in 9 times out of 10 is field goal percentage, free throws, threes, points, assists, and steals. And surprisingly, 3 of those categories, the points, threes, and free throws, he was able to overtake. But in retrospect, given the lineup that was thrown out there, and not having the right guys to really provide that 3-point punch, kind of played a part. And then in the points game, it's just not enough games from the right players. Because I know Paul George missed a game right before the break. Minnesota had a weak schedule with the Cat only playing one game the first half before the All-Star break. So it's unfortunate, because I thought this should have been a matchup that optimistically, like, we could squeeze out a 6-3, but in retrospect, given the fact that we didn't have the games advantage, some key players missing games, a 5-4 is a very good victory, right? Like we like Amherst Speedsters is actually healthy, right? So I need to give a little bit more credit, and understand that some of these numbers are quite skewed, given that he's been running around with like 4 or 5 ILs the whole season. So these averages are going to be tough to judge his team.
Yeah. I think when it comes to this matchup, a couple of things stand out to me. The first is, I look at the field goal percentage. I thought that would be a little bit closer, and could have possibly tilted in the way of Speedsters. But the problem is, when you look at guys like Eric Bledsoe, even Jamal Murray, and then Tyler Hero, they all have really shot terribly in the games leading up to this. So Eric Bledsoe, for example, only shooting just above 30% in this matchup alone. He's been terrible for the last, really for the last month, and some would say for the entire season. He's just been bad. Um, Tyler Hero the same. He's just shooting. Now after today, shooting 35%, but coming into today, he was shooting about 32%, and then only averaging 9 points. Like, for a guy who's going to be the one of the cornerstones for this franchise moving forward, that's got to be concerning to Speedsters. And then you look at blocks, which before today was a little closer, but when you're only getting one block or two blocks for the entire week from DeAndre Jordan and James Wiseman, that's disappointing. So they've got to kind of step up if this was gonna turn the other way. They really needed more production out of those two to turn this matchup, and then assists were pretty close. So, um, you know, it could have. They had a chance to go there, and like you said, they're healthy now. So I expect them to walk away with some wins, and to take a few matchups before we end the season. Um, we've got some pieces like Shea played excellent this week, and then Michael Porter Jr. Your boy Michael Porter Jr. Are you ready to stop hating on Michael Porter Jr.?
Nah, it won't stop. Can't stop, won't stop.
Yeah, man. He's been putting up some good scoring numbers, and um, shot 63% from the field this week. So he's been a kind of pretty much like a walking double double, and then hitting a lot of threes too. So credit to him. All right, well let's move on to our next matchup, which is the Beantown Bombers and Dame Stop. We predicted, you predicted Beantown to win this matchup, and it looks like they're winning. But I thought it was going to be close, and Dame Stop should have had a chance to win this matchup. But what are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I mean, emphasizing, yes, this matchup was a close one. It was a tough one. I've got incentive to choose Beantown Bombers. I'm happy that he's going to walk away with the victory. And just to reiterate, I own the draft rights to Dame Stop's draft pick for the 2021 season. So, if he ends up in that lottery, I get a chance at continuing the growth of the Brooklyn Phoenix talent pool.
Now, what kind of pick? What kind of pick are you projecting at this point? Top 5, top 3? Like, what do you?
Anything can happen with these new odds, right? You're no longer incentivized to just lose games. Of course, probably lower probability depending on where he ends up. But I don't know. I could see him falling down, right? And he's also in the luxury tax, right? So, he's gonna have to pay hard, cold cash, when he's coming against the trade deadline. And we'll get to it a little bit later, but Rucker Park is making some moves, and so it's closing, right? That 8th spot, because there's only really one spot left, and that 8th spot is closing really quickly.
Right.
But in regards to this matchup, let's see. So, you were right. To go by the numbers, Dame Stop was a 5-4 favorite. And so, Beantown Bombers, he overtook, some key categories, which were free throw percentage. He was able to win out, which was key. The assist category, he
lost free throw percentage.
No, he lost field goals.
Oh, you're talking about, okay, I'm sorry. You're talking about the Bombers. Okay, got you.
Free throw percentage. and also the assist. The assist was big, and also the blocks.
Yes.
So those three categories were the ones that flipped the matchup for the Beantown Bombers. And then he did what he was supposed to do in 3-pointers and points, where he had a clear advantage. And steals, although Beantown Bombers has the advantage on the year, it's literally by 0.2 of a difference, right? So, I don't know what the game distribution was, but that could have certainly pushed it if there was any advantage to GameStop. Because he looks like the numbers look like they're right around their season averages, which is around 24. But given this week is funky and you probably have a couple more extra games than you typically do, I think it's right around what's expected. So, Beantown Bombers continues to claw and fight, man. It's like he's the ultimate 5'4", 4'5" demigod. Mostly 5'4". And
Yeah.
so,
Yeah. To your
and
point,
this,
I mean, I didn't, free throw percentage and um, assists, I wasn't too surprised about Beantown winning, but I was really surprised about the blocks. The blocks is one that I figured would have been won um, by GameStop, and turns out that um, they probably did not win this blocks matchup because Clint Capella lost. Excuse me, Clint Capella missed 2 games. He missed today, and then he also missed their first game of last week. So that I think that made a big difference. Clint Capella is good for an extra 3 blocks after missing 2 games. So I think missed games is really the thing that robbed GameStop of this matchup. But other than that, I think they both teams did what they did, and you know the better team won. So
yeah, GameStop, give me a call, man. Dame Lillard, I bet it's gonna be for sale pretty soon, man. And the Brooklyn Phoenix, is looking to potentially trade back that draft pick to you. So, my phone line is open. Uh, you know, just let me know if you want to make a deal happen.
I can't even keep. How can you even? You can't even keep a serious face saying that.
I'm just out here trying to wheel a deal, man. Trying to do what's better for the franchise, and
That's so
you know,
sleazy. Um,
both sides got incentives, man, to do what's best for the long term of their organizations.
let's move on to the Celtics and Midtown Money, man. You had we both had the Celtics winning this one, Bimtown, but looks like it's not gonna happen right now. What's going on in that matchup?
Man, the money man is just being the money man. You just can't count these guys out. I guess Conley got upset because of being snubbed from the All-Star game, and he had a
Went
great
off.
week. Um, and that was, that's where it starts. And then, Joker. Joker's just, he's the number one fantasy player for a damn reason. Guys shot nearly 60% from the field, 85% from the free throw line, and 150 points. I won't, rattle off the rest of the stats, but this guy is just playing at an unbelievable pace, and he's not missing any games. And so, whoever's got him has always got a fighting chance of winning a matchup, even if they're not a favorite. So for this matchup, the numbers said that Moneyman should have lost 4-5. However, the categories that they were able to turn into profit was the assist. So the assist was a big category because on the average of the season, they're only about an 85 assists, whereas Bimtown is 96. So it'd be interesting to dig to see what happened there, because I don't know if it's,
I know what
did
happened.
did Moneyman overachieve or did
Yeah,
Bimtown underachieve?
well,
Right. So
I think what you're seeing there is that is Victor Oladipo um, really contributed to the assist column in this matchup for the money men, and Victor is never really in the lineup for this team. Obviously they just acquired Victor Oladipo in a trade like a few weeks back, but he's been out and missed a lot of time. So he's getting in the swing of things, and so that's gonna, as he begins to get his feet under him and continues to play. We'll see what happens with him at the trade deadline. Here, Houston is interested in moving him, but um, depending on his situation, what situation he moves on to, if this becomes a trend, you should see those assist numbers really starting to rise for the money men. So that's going to be a big factor for them.
yeah, and yeah. So okay, yeah, that's something. Yeah, let's make sure that we're tracking that and seeing, if that, yeah, if that's the new DNA of the money man. Yeah, and then the other categories, free throw steals, blocks, and turnovers were all categories that Midtown money men, were predicted to win, going by the averages, the season averages. And so, both teams took care of the categories that they were supposed to, except for the assist switching to Bimtown. So, I mean, I don't know if I thought this matchup was that close, but then again,
I have a hard time with
maybe,
this one.
yeah, not enough credit. And Bimtown, man, they're just all over the place. Like I look at Luca's numbers and I'm kind of like lost for words. Luca only had 76, but I guess it's points is not the reason why they lost. But
Well,
I mean,
Luca, and Luca did lose two. He did not play in two games
mhm.
in this matchup. So really, we're talking about a two-game Luca in this matchup. So
Well, I've got a rebuttal. I mean, I think DeRozan missed 2 games on the money man.
no, you're right.
Um,
He did miss.
and he's been putting up. I usually don't trust him, but he's been putting up the totals this year.
Yeah, which is what makes this win even more impressive for the money men. But I think you got to factor in that Luca missing a couple games could have is one way to easily swing or make this matchup that much tighter. That's a big difference there. Points and everything. Uh, they didn't miss anything. I mean, Norman Powell put up 137 points and going this match. 21 3-pointers. There's nothing really you could do with this team offensively. They've got firepower everywhere. And then Enos Cantor really just holding out rebounds all by himself. Like him and Zion, I guess, is the closest. But if you even look at the totals, Enos Cantor 79 rebounds for the week, and Zion with 32. So Zion is the closest one to him in rebounds for this team. So even with that, they're still. I mean, it's close, but they're still winning pretty easily with rebounding.
Do you think Bentown should be concerned? I mean, I hear that what's the big man that's hurt? Nurk is like he's ramping up and he's close to returning. So that
Yeah,
certainly
you
is
see a couple
possibly
of
going to
weeks.
take away, from Cantor's minutes. So is that is that stats that the Bentown Celtics can address given their current roster?
It's a bit of a concern. When Nurk does come back, there's going to be some obviously some minutes that Cantor's going to miss out on. But Um, you know, Enos Kansas has been doing this all season with or without Nurk in the lineup. So, and that was a troublesome thing about Nurk in the beginnings that we didn't understand why Cantor was playing at some points even more minutes than Nurk was
Mhm.
when Nurkic was healthy. So I mean, I don't know. I don't want to give too much credence to Nurkic coming back too, because even when he was here, he really wasn't doing anything. So he's got to come back and prove it um, before we start to worry. But it's something that Bimtown wants to think about. Um,
Man, you sound like an owner that traded away Nurk.
no comment.
Nurk.
No comment. Um,
Oh, man.
who else we got in this lineup? We got the Titans playing King's Landing. King's Landing was uh, was on the streak, man. They were playing well. But looks like their luck has run out this week. What do you see happen in this matchup?
Yeah, I mean, we picked it right. I mean, going by the averages, Kings Landon should have narrowly won 5-4, uh, but wasn't able to do that. Mainly, the category Kings Landon struggled in was field goal percentage. So on the season, he's usually shooting at 46, but the Titans, shoots it at 45, right? And so the Titans, shot a lot better at 46% this week, and that was the main differentiator. Everything else was actually, no, I take that back. Points was also another big surprise. So usually you expect Titans to be weak in the points categories, but they were able to overproduce and
Mhm.
put together 573 points this week. So I'm guessing their Jazz guys, had a full lineup. It also looks like Buddy Hield, finally got going.
What do you?
And then Boucher, right? Boucher, I think because of a bunch of the Toronto players in the health and safety protocols, like he certainly got more touches and more minutes than he's usually accustomed to. So I think overall, very good week, for a team that's you know, fighting the fight.
Yeah, I mean, I was sort of surprised at the threes, right? Like, Steph Curry, Dragic, I mean, Bradley Beal. Usually this team is hard to beat when it comes to threes, but as you mentioned, Buddy Hill went all the way off. Had a game I think where he had something crazy like seven 3-pointers, and then he really didn't cool off throughout the week. He was pretty hot, at least from three. Um, and then Bradley Beal only hit 4 3-pointers this week, which is not like him. I think we know that he could do a little bit better than that, especially when LaMelo Ball had 16 threes. So, you know, um, with Bam missing uh, several games, really he only played one game in this matchup. And then House was also out. So he, one of your go-to lines, but he's in this matchup playing 6 on 8. So and that's no fault of his. Injuries happen.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, look for them hopefully to bounce back from this one, because I think they could have won this matchup, and give credit to the Titans because they're Jazz players, and Buddy Hill, like you said, came to play. Boucher was a monster, so give credit to them.
Yeah, I mean, look at Brunson's stats on the Kings Landon side.
Hmm.
He had himself a healthy line.
Yeah, he stepped up.
I,
He really
I wonder
stepped
if
up. I
that's
think I think King's Landing has a nice little streamer right there with Brunson. Maybe a guy to keep in the lineup for them going forward.
agreed.
Yeah. Um, We have next the 17ers and the NY Clinique. Yeah, this didn't go anyway the way I thought it would at all. It was quite disappointing to see the way this matchup went. Um, you know, Chris Paul was mediocre, I thought, this week. Um, Similarly, Lonzo until today was really not good at all. 36%, I think 36% shooting until today, and then only averaging 6.5 points. 50% free throw shooting. Um, Today really helped out his numbers a lot, but I thought, those are some of the contributing factors. Added that OG Anunoby didn't play, and I think maybe Frankfurt thought he would be ready for this week, but didn't actually play at all. Marketing was on the bench and probably could have helped out a little bit, but I don't know. When you look at the numbers, looks like it would have been tough anyway to pull out for them because on the other side, you had a whole bunch of guys, particularly Russell Westbrook, who went off. And how about Melo, man? Melo was like a throwback. Now the 11th leading scorer in the NBA all time. So give credit to
Yes.
Melo. Um, what do you think of this matchup?
Man, so I really thought NYK had the advantage, and Frankfurt, showed some potential. But I think NYK is just really loaded, especially if they've got their guys healthy and they put together a strong set of games. Look at all these numbers on the NYK side, and they had no Fred VanVleet, right? Like so Fred VanVleet did not play a game for them this week, and so it just talks to the talent that this roster's got. It's just taken them such a long time to get it together, and so the numbers said NYK was predicted to win 6-3 going by the averages. And they profited. Right now they're looking at a 7-2 victory, and so that was pretty big. And so the areas that they profited in were field goal percentage. 49%, that seems a little high for that team, especially with Russell Westbrook. And to your point, Russell Westbrook went off this week. 3-pointers, 78. That seems a little bit above the pay grade, especially without Fred VanVleet. So,
Right.
But Melo, to your point, Melo put up 15 threes, and Vooch with 17.
Yeah, he led their team in threes. Like Vujicic led the team, or a team with Fred Van. Well, he wasn't playing, but a team with Kevin Herter and Russell Westbrook, and man, your center is your leading 3-point shooter for the week. That's incredible.
Then points were a lot closer. That was a category that he profited in, but it was only like a 3-point difference in the averages, right? And certainly NYK's numbers are going to be a lot lower because he had like injured people in the lineups, and just guys just not there. And then the assist was another surpriser, right? And this is without Fred VanVleet again in the lineup. This is a scary team. NYK is a scary team, man.
Yeah, they are, man. I thought I was. I mean, I'll say one thing. I was feeling bad for holding on to like injured Kevin Love for so long, but you know, I thank NYK for making me feel better because I see Trevor Ariza still on the injured list. So I, I guess it wasn't that bad.
Trevor Ariza, man. He'll play a game one day, right?
I hope so.
Gotta love it. Gotta love it.
Let's go ahead and get things rolling back with let's see who do we have next? We had Cranston. Oof, Cranston and Rucker Park. I thought this was going to be a little bit closer, but
You and
no
I
sir,
both, man.
no sir.
Yeah.
They got laid out.
Yeah, this was a must win for Rucker Park, right? Like
Yes, it was.
he was gonna have to return some players, and
Yeah,
make some trades happen.
it wasn't
And
looking
for,
good, man. It wasn't looking good for a second, but as we predicted, there's a couple of teams that were sliding, and we're going to give some opportunity to Rucker Park to get into the standings. And as of the end of this week, if everything holds, they'll be right where they not exactly where they want to be, but they'll be in playoff position and at the eighth seed, and still has room to improve.
yeah, I hope he jumps to whatever seed that I don't potentially play in the playoffs
You don't
because
want
this is not all right. This is not a true eighth or seventh or whatever seed he's gonna
Nah,
end up
you don't
at.
want to see. This is like that year when who was it?
The Dallas
The AFC was it?
or
Uh
I know what you're
you
referring to.
know I'm
I,
referring to.
ah,
Mm, I think Golden State. No, not Golden State.
was it? Let me think. What was Dallas?
Well, anyway, the point is
Yeah, we'll get back
you
to
don't want to see Rucker Park in the playoffs. So right now, if everything holds, I'll be the number one team in the league after tonight. But I tell you what, man, I'm willing to slide because I do not want to see Rucker Park in the playoffs that early. We don't want we're not there yet.
But I mean, you can get some guaranteed money though, right? You get some money for your for your sacrifices.
Yeah, yeah, I'll take that. I'll take those winnings. But yeah, I don't want to exit that quickly. So the matchup, man, it was close in a couple of categories, but um, not having I'll tell you, not having Siakam in the lineup and having D'Angelo Russell still in the lineup, you know, you're playing, 6 on 8 here, and this is a team that you can't play. You can't afford to be having no injured players playing against Drew Holiday, Kawhi Leonard, and Giannis and Butler, and like you playing against an all-star team. So I don't understand this, like where you're leaving D'Angelo Russell and Pascal Siakam still in the lineup. I'm not sure what's happening there. Um, and then when you got guys like even Rucker Park's role players are starting to percolate, right? Like the Josh Richardson has been awesome, and Kendrick Nunn, aside from today, which was trash, he's been great, like for like the past 2 or 3 weeks. So that was, give credit to Rucker Park for making that pickup, because now you're not just scared of their star players, you're scared of their role players. So this was like,
and look at Wiggins getting efficient, right? Like look at those numbers.
right,
53%.
and one of their main guys, Drummond, is not even in the lineup. So
it's probably good. It's probably better that way because I mean, especially when you got Giannis shooting 76 from the free throw.
Hey,
we've been talking about this free throw percentage, creeping
last week. Yeah.
Right. 83%. It's not fair, man.
That's a sexy line, man. That's a sexy line. What do you are you concerned with Cranston, and seeing this output from them this week?
Yeah, I mean, we'll get to, or I'll get to it. We'll get to it whenever we revisit the power rankings. But I've got some serious concerns about where this team finishes. I don't think they'll have the consistency that they'll need to take it to that next step. Because I think that's one of the key things. You got to get all your players playing all at the same time, and I just, I think he's done for the season. He'll be in and out. Um, and then I've got to imagine like James kind of slows down or starts getting ready for the playoffs. And Tice, I don't trust Tice, but I guess he's still getting minutes and he's producing. Yeah, they just don't have, they don't look as, I mean, they're just not as scary as they were, in the beginning. And, as it was getting close to the break. So yeah, I'm concerned, man. I'm concerned.
Yeah, I mean, we had a segment earlier on about D'Angelo Russell and what's going on with him. Is it anything serious? I mean, is it a mistake that now that Cat's back, D'Angelo Russell is out? I mean, is that a real thing? Are we seeing some gamesmanship from Minnesota? I don't know, but you know,
Uh,
uh, you know, even a guy like DeAndre Hunter, who was in this lineup, he may or may not rejoin the team. So now there's two guys, and then Pascal Siakam. Um, not only is his health had been an issue, but he really wasn't producing the way that we probably thought he would coming into the season. I think he's playing under his ADP right now. So definitely I think some concerns. And then as we get further down the line, is LeBron going to be resting a little bit more, getting ready for the playoffs? Trey Young has been okay. He's starting to produce a lot more and definitely had an efficient week. So he might start to gain form, but is that going to be enough for this team to get back to their strong play? Right now, they're in seventh place. Um, all it takes is for a couple of teams to start moving this way, and for his team to continue to coast, for him to be out the playoffs. I don't think that will happen, but they're getting mighty close to being, sort of a borderline play-in team right now.
it's going to be an exciting ride, man, to see how things
Fun to
unfold for
watch, yeah.
that.
I think next week we'll look at probably look at the power rankings next week and see what comes of that. And then we've got our last matchup, um, which is Solid State against Syracuse. No surprises there, obviously. What do you think of this matchup?
The number said 6-3. Solid State did a 6-3. I think he may have a chance at possibly getting a seventh category, but the Syracuse Sparrows just don't have the talent. They've got Murray, they've got Grant, and Clark had a very promising week, but outside of that, it's tough, especially when you're going against James Harden, who's a triple double every day, and Sabonis is cooking. Sexton is doing what he does best and putting up points.
Yeah, Jackson Hayes had a nice week, but he got a chance to play and put up some numbers for Syracuse. But yeah, not much you can do. And with James Harden going off the way he did, pretty much averaging like a triple double this past week, right? I mean,
Mhm.
he's been crazy, and Colin Sexton too. He's been scoring out of his mind, and um, it's gonna be hard, man. Sabonis, man. When Sabonis has basically been triple double threat, also. So,
Mhm.
um, it just there obviously this was one of the best teams in the league facing one of the worst, and probably I would say Solid State's probably disappointed that they didn't score more points, at least bringing this to a 7-2 or 8-1 somehow. But like you said, the numbers suggest that it was going to be a 6-3. So, um, you know, is what it is.
Indeed.
All right. Well, that pretty much ends our matchup review for week 11. We will see you in our week 12 preview coming up next. See you then.